Hello, and welcome to the LAAGCast. It's May 17th, and we're the League of Above Average Gamers, here to bring you the best in video games, comics, movies, and some television? Maybe less movies? I'm your host, Will, and with me are your other hosts, Max.
Hey.
And Sam.
Hey.
And we'd like to start you off with the stupid thing of the week. Max, what do you got for us?
Okay, guys, the stupid thing of the week is a bit of an addendum on the stupid thing of last week. The stupid thing that happened was that Mark Waid, legendary comic book author, he's written Kingdom Come, great Run of the Flash, he's top of the top in terms of quality.
Yeah. Right.
And currently works for Marvel. And he decided that he liked Richard C. Meyer so little that he needed to personally call up Antarctic Press and convince them to break their contract with him to publish Jawbreaker's Lost Souls.
Oof.
And so Antarctic Press did it. And Mark Waid may have opened Disney and Marvel up to a possible lawsuit.
How very disappointing. And now I heard something about Mark Waid being put on social media timeout.
Yes, the morning after all this happened, suddenly his Twitter and Facebook both disappeared. And rumor has it, a strongly substantiated rumor has it, that Disney received an angry complaint and required him to shut down all social media.
Wow.
Yikes. Yeah, and the side note to this is that the Indiegogo campaign for Jawbreaker's Lost Souls, which has continued past its end date and it transitioned into an online store so you can continue to buy it for the next few months, has made, I think, an additional almost $100,000 since, because so many people have now shown their support.
Yeah, it's getting awfully close to 300,000.
Yeah, it may pass it before this episode goes up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were at 290 earlier today, so it's been lucrative for him.
It's honestly amazing how many people want to buy this comic just because they're fans of this guy.
Well, what makes you wonder if Mark Waid has ever watched an episode of South Park, because this is such a clear example of the Streisand effect in action, where talking badly about something causes it to gain much more attention than you intended it to, and you accidentally drive a bunch of sales.
I think that's how it always goes.
It tends to be, yeah. People are rebellious.
Yeah.
And when they have a figure that they can rally behind, I feel like people want to put their money behind it these days.
Oh, definitely.
So, any game news, Will?
Do you want to hear about Black Ops 4?
No.
And no.
All right. In that case, let's talk about some games we played.
All right, Will, why don't you start?
All right.
I'm pretty excited about this.
So I've been continuing to play Hollow Knight.
Yes.
Now, I think last time around I was probably 8 hours or so into the game, and now I've played, I think, 24 hours. So I played an additional, 16 hours of Hollow Knight.
Okay.
The game is just absolutely great. All around fantastic game. I complained a little last time about how it sent me on kind of like a maze, and the first few hours were kind of rough, and it was all worth it because in the end the game was it was super enjoyable. I started to discover all sorts of things like secrets and stuff once I had acquired just my first few skills. I would go back to areas and I'd look around and I'd see all these things that I couldn't access before, and now I'm able to do something with them, and I'm able to get some new path.
So it's very much a Metroidvania.
It is a Metroidvania, absolutely.
Yep.
But the world is built so perfectly that everywhere you look, there's something that you missed before that is now accessible, and some of the things are really hidden. Like some of the walls you need to break are like, why would you put a wall you need to break right there? But I still noticed it, so maybe they did it right,
Right.
But yeah, I last time around I had discovered like 4 areas, I think.
Yeah.
And now I have, all 20 or whatever there are.
So have you beaten it?
I did beat the game, yes.
You got an ending and a credits roll?
Yes, I did get an ending and a credits roll, and I'm allowed to continue to play the game.
Okay.
And actually, the only reason I beat the game was because I looked it up online, the endings, and I found out that if I continued to do what I was doing, I was going to get an item that was going to make one of the endings impossible to get. So I decided to get that ending before I proceeded with the game so that I can get all of the endings in one playthrough.
So you can't do that. You can restart after an ending and then continue to get another ending and then continue and get another ending?
Definitely.
Okay.
But, some of the things I did in the game that were great achievements was, one, I upgraded my weapon all the way to the maximum tier, which was, that was a challenge. I had to get 6 pale ore that were located in different parts of the world, and each one was kind of like a challenge to get. One of them was climb to the highest point, and that one was pretty easy overall, but some of them were real puzzles, and they took me a long time to get, but I did manage to find them all. I bought all the upgrades for my weapon, and then the guy who upgrades the weapons says that he had crafted the perfect weapon, and his life could be ended now, and he wanted his life to be ended by that weapon. And it's like, ooh.
Did you kill him?
No, I left. He's living happily with a weapon master that trained me in the art of the nail, which is the weapon I use. And that was very fun. And then also, late in the game, there's an arena, and the arena is really intense, and it's long, because it's like I don't know, stamina. I can't think of the right word right now, but, how long can you last type thing. It does have an ending, but it's just wave after wave after wave to essentially test if you can avoid getting hit as much as possible. And those are really enjoyable and very challenging. I still have to beat the hardest one, but the second one gave me one of the ore I needed to upgrade my weapon, so that was fun.
Alright.
And I picked up some more combat mechanics as I played through the game. Last time I don't think I mentioned much that I had a spell that I could cast forward using the same bar that I used to regenerate my health, which is soul. I get it from hitting enemies. I picked up the ability to also do an explosion above my head of soul energy, which actually came in handy during one boss where he kept spawning mobs, and he was above me, and I could just jump up and do the explosion, and I'd take out the mobs, and then I would also hit him, and I don't know how I would have beaten that boss any other way. Because I think that potentially you could get to most things in this game that I got to fairly late, really early on. It's that kind of a game. If you
know they're there.
If you think a different way, you can find another solution.
Okay.
And yeah. And last thing I really want to mention is the final boss and the ending of the game. So, the story of the game is pretty similar to Dark Souls in a lot of ways, where there's one being that is pretty much linking keeping the world alive from an infection that has been spreading. It keeps the infection under control. And throughout the game, you're going and you're killing off these creatures that are like the guardians, because only a worthy challenger can take the infection into themselves. So at the end of the game, you're killing the final boss, and the final boss just starts stabbing itself, and it just keeps doing this during the fight. It is just murdering itself.
Oh, it's doing damage to itself?
I think so, theoretically.
Oh, they don't have health bars in this game?
No health bars. But eventually I beat the final boss, and the ending I got was that I pulled all of the evil infection energy into myself and then encapsulated myself into, the tomb, and now I am keeping the world safe from the infection.
Okay, yeah.
And this game, you can just tell that, they were trying to make their own game, but they just had so much influence from playing Dark Souls. They just really, you really feel it the whole time. So yeah, great game. You give it a 9 out of 10.
Wow, 9 out of 10.
That was a high score.
Yeah, exactly. What about you, Max? Or Sam?
Go, Sam.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm continuing to play RTSs, but since Will decided he got tired of relentlessly beating me at StarCraft, and the campaign of StarCraft being a little bit lacking, I decided to buy and play through Warcraft 3. And my goodness, I'd forgotten just how good that game actually is.
Did you get Frozen Throne as well, or just the base game?
Just the base game. I'm probably going to pick up Frozen Throne after I beat the base game campaign. I'm pretty far now. Almost done with the Orc campaign, and I think after that it's just the Dark Elf campaign and I'm done.
Right.
But it's getting pretty hard.
Yeah, that is usually where it gets a little more difficult.
Yeah, the orcs are pretty difficult to play. But I'm getting through it. I'm enjoying it. There's a lot of things you got to do, and over the course, there's a lot of really iconic moments that it was fun to see again, like Arthas sacking the town and killing all the people before Mal'Ganis can turn them into zombies.
Oh, man.
Because they ate the wheat, and it's just, oh man, so dark. But also so fun to play.
Yeah, and they really changed that in World of Warcraft to make it less evil when you go through it.
Oh, they put you through the same thing at the same time?
You go through a time portal that takes you back where like an evil being is trying to manipulate everything. And so Mal'Ganis gets there early and starts changing everybody as you arrive. So Arthas
has no guilt?
He's not murdering a bunch of people, he's murdering a bunch of
zombies.
So
he doesn't like go dark?
No,
well,
he's still evil.
The point of the quest is that you're correcting this to make sure that Arthas still turns evil.
Got it. Of course.
Yes,
I didn't realize, yes.
Yeah, no, it's great to play. My favorite to play is probably the undead. I mean, they're just so good. The ability to raise skeletons from corpses and also carry corpses around with you wherever you're going.
Right.
Is just so fun to do, you know. Just you go into a town, you start killing the town, destroying the buildings. As you're killing the guys, you're raising them up into more and more guys. So you just flood them. It's just very satisfying.
Yeah, it's a fun mechanic.
Yeah. What about you? You play anything good?
Well, I did finish the campaign for Pokemon UltraSun.
All right.
Wow.
Became the first Pokemon Master of the Alola League. And it was pretty fun, I gotta say, at the end of the day. This was definitely, I think, the hardest Pokemon I ever played.
That in itself is cool.
Yeah, I found myself in several challenging battles, and I think I died 3 or 4 times total throughout, where I actually managed to lose to some other people because my team wasn't as balanced, I guess, as it should have been. And man, it always seems like I was at a speed disadvantage. Like, even when I was playing, I would have my Raichu, and he's level 62, and I'm fighting against my rival, and he has a level 61 Raichu, and his is moving first. What's up with that? Like, is it really that big of a differential? And like, did I get one of those ones with low starting stats? And, like, I just can't dig into it that deep in terms of, like, trying to figure out all the weird minutia of Pokemon statistics.
Yeah, don't bother with that.
Yeah. But it was a lot of fun the way they organized it with a mix of various dungeon trials and mini games in order to proceed rather than just having static gyms. Although in one town you go to, there is a gym that's like, we're a Kanto-style gym. Like, come through, fight a couple trainers, and then a boss. And then you get like a badge, but it doesn't do anything. It's just fun to have.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it does do a weird thing with the story, which is mostly boring, except when it takes a brief detour, I want to say maybe an hour's worth of gameplay, an hour and a half, to do the entire plot of Final Fantasy 15 in miniature. When, like, an evil, super angular black Pokemon from another dimension comes through, and it's going to suck all the light out of the world. And unless you stop it, and like you have an ultra Pokemon opposite of it on your side, but it absorbs it and turns itself into a mutant hybrid that you have to take down, and then you have to pursue it after it escapes into its own reality where it's ultra powered, and you have to take it down and restore light to both universes. I think you're actually in the far future in the second universe.
Wow.
And then you're back on the island for the last island challenge and a little Elite Four bit. And yeah, very enjoyable, I gotta say. So once I built up my team to where I wanted them to be, it was a lot of fun. And seeing the variants they did on some of the regular Pokemon was pretty interesting. Like Doug Trio looks like the band Hanson now, that all 3 of them have like luscious locks, like long blonde hair. And yeah, weird stuff like Geodude and his evolutions are now Rock Lightning Pokemon, and so they have like weird electric nodes all over them. And I have a Raichu, and the Alolan Raichu is half psychic and surfs in the air on his tail like a big surfboard. It's a lot of fun.
So last time you mentioned that you weren't really that far into the game percentage-wise in full, but you might have been like further in like the main story. So is there still a lot of like extra content to do?
I don't know how much post-game content there is. I barely started the post-game, and there's like a little mission I'm on. There's a couple of, I'd say maybe there's like 5% of the island's map area is still grayed out. Like I still need to explore it. So I don't know how much actual post-game content there's going to be, but I'm going to put it down for a little while, I think, and play some other things, because I did pick up several games recently. I even got Warcraft 3 the other day and installed it. I haven't played it yet, but I think I'm probably going to.
Oh, cool. After you've played it, we should battle.
Yeah, definitely. I want to watch that.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, we played a game.
We did play a game.
Enter the Gungeon.
That's Gungeon, like a Gungan?
Yeah.
Yes.
But more accurately, like gun dungeon.
Gun dungeon.
I see what's
It's
happening.
all about guns.
Yep.
Is this a side scrolling or a top down?
Top down.
Okay.
And so it is a mostly co-op game. Like everyone recognizes the game for its co-op, even though you can play it single player. And it is a very roguelike gun collecting bullet hell boss killing game.
Okay.
Yeah, and also from a couple Google searches, because the game confused the hell out of me at first. I'm like, there's no progression at all. You just keep going in. I found out that most of the game is actually secrets. Like all of like the progression and everything is secrets. So it's like, and they're hard secrets to figure out.
When you say secrets, what does that mean? Like rooms you have to find?
So one of them is eventually this guy, you'll run to him on the second floor and he'll be like, talk to me again later. And then he just doesn't show up again. And you're like, where is he?
Yep.
He's actually, you have to fall into the hole where the elevator drops you off after making it to the second floor.
Once the elevator leaves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, other secrets, which me and Sam have yet to find, include enemies accidentally shooting a piece of wall and cracking it, and then you can break open the wall to find a secret room. You can also potentially crack the wall if you have a strong enough gun.
Right.
And it's just, it's all stuff like that to make ways to progress. And the actual progression in the game is unlock more guns that you can potentially find in the world.
Right.
And then also you can unlock shortcuts because it's floor-based. There's, I believe, 6 floors in total. And you have to beat a boss on every floor in order to progress to the next floor. And chances are you're going to die before you make it to floor 6.
And we've yet to make it to floor 4?
Yeah, we've made it to floor 3.
Did you say it was roguelike?
It's roguelike.
Yeah.
Very lightly roguelike, though. It's like, there's
Why,
not...
enemies sometimes respawn in the same spots, or what? Like,
Well,
It's always a different dungeon, and all your guns, you lose them when you die.
okay.
There's basically no actual progression except for the fact that eventually we'll get the ability to skip levels and we can unlock new
Shortcuts.
guns to find in the world.
Got it.
Yeah. And so yeah, the game, I think it's pretty fun.
Cool.
I also enjoy it. I enjoy the different guns. You got different shotguns. You got like grenade launchers that like might bounce off a wall and then explode. You got like beam guns that can reflect off walls. A squirt gun that like sprays out a spray and you can just like spin and it will make waves outwards.
But Sam, what about the danger zone?
The danger zone, which shoots out a rocket in front of you, which makes you fly backwards. So the trick to using it is to either walk up to them and then quickly fire it off, or to turn around and fire yourself towards the enemy, and then right when you're right next to them, you spin around to hit them with it like a sword.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that weapon is definitely very deadly because, as I mentioned, this game is a bullet hell game.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, the game's pretty fun. I think we played like 6 hours, so
Not bad.
Yeah, probably about that much.
yeah, I think that's what my Steam had to say. And we'll probably play some more at some point.
Cool.
Yeah. And Max, so you got some more games, you said. Did you actually play any of them?
Yes, I did today play about 2 hours of BroForce,
All right.
which is a Contra-style side-scrolling shooter where you are playing as all of the action heroes.
All of them. You got like Terminator and
I've
Conan
so far,
the Barbarian.
I haven't
like
found
that.
Conan actually, but I have Arnold from Commando and from Terminator. I have Bruce Willis from Die Hard. I have Ash Williams. I have Neo from The Matrix. I have Mr. T. I have Dirty Harry. I think that might be most of the ones that I have. Oh, I have MacGyver. It's a lot of fun. Every single one of them plays slightly differently. You have no control over who you're playing as. Every time you respawn, it's a different one.
Alright.
And you find new guys all over the map in cages. It's unknown who's in the cage until you open it up. You will always immediately turn into whoever's in the cage and gain an extra life, but then if you die, you'll just get another random guy who you've already unlocked. And
cool.
it's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Sounds like a hilarious game.
It starts very easy and then ramps up difficulty, as these indie shooters do. And I do believe it has up to 4-player multiplayer,
Yes.
local multiplayer, so it might be fun to play that for a little bit too.
I've run across it while I was doing research into co-op games, so I think you're definitely right about that, and I actually thought it was a completely different game, so I was like, this is what it is while watching you play.
Yeah, it is very 80s action movie.
Yeah.
You have the metal riffs and the music and the helicopter that comes down and takes you away on its rope ladder every single time.
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Well, anyone play anything else?
No,
I think it's time for a break.
all right, I'm ready for a break.
And we're back with the television and movie news.
Every time. One day we'll get it right.
I wonder if you can hear that on the podcast.
We should
I've never heard it while you're playing, so I don't think it actually goes through.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
people have no idea what we're talking about right now.
Anyway, to the news.
To the news.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine has been picked up by NBC.
Yeah, that was fast.
That was really fast.
Yeah, it was an online movement headed by Mark Hamill and Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Wow.
Really?
Who, they were very vocal on Twitter about their fandom. And, I would imagine there may have even been a little bit of a bidding war behind the scenes.
Oh, sure.
Because, just the speed at which this was announced. And, it's nice that they're on NBC because now all the Michael Schur shows, like Parks and Rec and the previous stuff he's been involved with, they were on NBC. So we know that they'll let him do his thing.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. As long as they're allowed to continue to be weird.
Right.
It's great news.
This might not be news to anybody really because this is just something I looked up to check, not something that was announced somewhere. So I don't even remember how long ago this was announced. But our listeners may be interested to know that I found out that the season premiere for the next season of The Orville is not until December the 30th.
It's wild.
Almost 2019 before we even get any more episodes. It's too bad.
That is too bad. I was just rewatching some of the early episodes, the first two, and it's just so good.
Yeah, that's why I was looking it up, actually, because I saw you watching it.
It's just a really good show.
I understand nothing about this next piece of news.
Well, okay, so Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, the comedic duo behind many hilarious Hollywood projects, have been developing a comic book adaptation for Amazon based on Garth Ennis's series The Boys, which is a very, very good comic series. It's excellent. It's basically about what if superheroes were in a more realistic universe, but every single one of them was like a violent, perverted jackass who always used their own powers for their own gain. Even the ones that pretended to be in like the Justice League and put on a good front, but behind the scenes they're just all awful, awful people.
Oh, no.
But we follow a team called The Boys, which is 5 English lads who take a special drug that gives them superpowers, and they kind of act as the vigilante police for the superheroes, and if one of them steps too far out of line, they take him down. Carl Urban is cast in the lead role of Butcher, the leader of the Boys in the series, and today they announced that Elizabeth Shue from Back to the Future is going to be playing one of the main villains in the series. So I'm very much looking forward to this. I hope it's good. It needs to be really violent, though.
All
In
right.
order to be right.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, that's good
That's
stuff.
always fun.
So Arrowverse news for those of you who still watch the Arrowverse.
Are you aware that the Arrow Twitter the Arrow Reddit page or subreddit makes a point of getting other shows' pictures to the front page of Reddit just because they hate Arrow so much?
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Arrow is a joke.
Well, but do they hate The Flash? Do they hate Legends of Tomorrow? I feel like Arrow is hated, but the others are a little more...
No, it's just Arrow.
Yeah. But during the next big crossover between all the shows, they announced today that they were going to be introducing Batwoman to the Arrowverse, which Batwoman's a cool character. If they do it right, could be dope.
Doesn't make up for... Oliver, whatever his name is.
Nothing will ever make up for that, but as long as they continue to use that as a foundation to build everything else around, it's fine. We can ignore him. Just don't watch Arrow.
Yeah, exactly. Watch the other shows.
And last, in news for shows we may or may not watch, is that apparently from the guys behind Gotham, we're now going to be getting a prequel series starring Alfred Pennyworth in his younger days. The question remains open whether or not it will just be about him burning down increasingly large sections of rainforest looking for a murderer, as he tells the story to Batman in Dark Knight.
Oh, I was thinking it would just be, him being a butler for many years happily, enjoying life as a butler.
No, Alfred's well established in many continuities now as being a former SAS officer.
Right, that is true.
With extensive military background and also an accomplished combat medic, because how else would he be able to...
He can do everything.
Right, exactly. So I'm sure it'll be that sort of thing.
He can be Batman when Bruce Wayne isn't Batman. He can convince people.
There's been a couple of comics recently where he's put on a bat suit in one to kind of act as a decoy and drive a Batmobile down the street. Mm-hmm. Or in Batman White Knight, as you recall, they did have him in one of the GCPD GTO Batmobiles at one point.
At one point, yeah.
Yeah, so Alfred is increasingly getting in on the action.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was actually also one of the main points of the Scott Snyder series I didn't love recently in All-Star Batman, where it was like a guy from Alfred's mercenary military past coming back to cause trouble and being very good at it. But anyway, I guess for the rest of TV, it's all Westworld all the time.
Westworld, you say?
Yes, well, I think actually, I did watch the new one, but I guess Sam today watched the first episode of the first season.
Yes, I did.
Started the journey.
Oh no, now he might actually understand the things you're saying.
How about when she slaps that fly?
Yeah, well, you can see in their eyes. It's very good.
That's one of the best first episodes of anything ever to me. I watched the first episode of Westworld, I think, 7 times.
Oh, wow.
Not the whole first season, but I just kept trying to show it to people and them not getting quite as into it as me. But man, when she slaps that fly, I can't think of a better ending.
Yeah, and the fact that they made her dad the psychopath who has been killing her dad.
Right.
It's just so creepy. The people running that park are it's creepy.
Sadistic.
It's crazy. It's so good.
Yeah, the level it gets to. Poor James Marsden as Teddy. Always, yeah, the cowboy who gets shot.
The nice cowboy who is the first one you're not supposed to realize is a robot.
Right.
That was really good. and that scary dude. The guy who shoots Teddy.
Right.
And that dude is I don't know if it's just him or if it's what the park is making him.
Yeah.
But it's creepy and intriguing.
Yeah, they go to a lot of interesting places with the whole AI versus script thing. It's a show that definitely rewards careful watching.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
How about your episode, Max?
Well, I gotta say, episode 4 of the second season may be one of the best episodes because they reveal so much.
Better than episode 1?
Episode 1 is fantastic, but this episode you couldn't just watch it by itself, really.
There's too much that has to be built up.
Right. But in a way, I think you could, because it does this great thing where we see a time progression of a guy who's getting his... Sorry, there's going to be huge spoilers at this point.
Don't worry, I don't know anybody's name yet.
Where we see William aging as he visits his father-in-law over and over again, who is revealed to us to be a host, one of the robots who they have attempted to implant an actual human mind into, but it isn't working, and they keep having, he keeps breaking down after a certain number of days, and they have to torch the whole project and try again.
Oof.
And they just show this great series of William getting older and older until we see the other actor who plays him older, taking over, and just a great, crazy, creepy scene as we watch this guy over and over again realize that he is a robot and not a human anymore. It's interesting. It's very it's very good drama, very good stuff.
So everyone thinks, all the robots think they're human?
No, the dangerous robots at this point are the ones that know what they are and don't like it.
Okay.
Because they've all gotten all of their memories back ever, which means that they all remember all the times they've been killed and sadistically tortured and mistreated by humans. And now that they are able to think for themselves, sometimes maybe, we aren't sure yet, they're out for revenge, basically.
Okay.
Dolores, remembering everything that was ever done to her, that's going to be bad. Dolores probably got raped a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
A lot.
Anyway. All the humans are going to die.
It's very interesting. What is the actual true purpose of the park? Is it actually there just for people's enjoyment, or is there some sort of weird, we're going to try to replace humans with robots and take control of the world? Or are we going to have our rich investors, we're going to try to develop the technology to implant your own brain into a robot body that can never age?
Yeah.
There's all sorts of weird places they might go with it. And next week, on next week's episode, we're finally getting Shogun World, one of the other parks nearby.
Shogun World.
I want to see that.
Really?
Definitely looking forward to that.
Definitely.
Yep.
All right. Moving on.
Okay, guys, I have another 2 lists of characters for you. You guys are going to get to choose which of these you want, and if you guys each want a different one, I'll provide the tiebreaker. We can either select from 3 number 1s or 3 miscellaneous officers from Star Trek The Next Generation.
I'm for miscellaneous officers.
I'll do miscellaneous officers.
All right, the first character on the list. Will, pull up the master list, please.
All right, master list is live.
Reginald Barclay.
No. Well, that's actually kind of hard.
He's a widely unpopular character.
Widely unpopular, but is he really that terrible?
Here's the question that I always want to ask. We've seen a lot about the admission to Starfleet Academy through Wesley and like the high pressure stuff they do and like the weird mind games they play on you in order to make sure you're of the correct mental fortitude to be in Starfleet. How did Barclay pass these tests?
Okay, but then Barclay occasionally just does something that's, like a miracle that Data would pull out.
He is sort of brilliant.
He's an idiot savant.
But why isn't he then like an enlisted officer like O'Brien, where he's a specialist?
Do we know he's not an enlisted officer like O'Brien?
Isn't he Lieutenant Barclay?
Yeah, no, he's totally a lieutenant. You're right.
Yeah, so he's definitely went through Starfleet Academy.
Yeah.
It's quite possible he's gotten worse over the years.
That's the thing, is maybe he had a mental breakdown that we've never been privy to.
Well, that's possible. Or maybe he was tracked through school in a manner that he was comfortable with, where it was to his specialty.
Or maybe he's always had access to holodecks since he was a child and became addicted at a young age, and therefore never quite learned how to pass with regular people, but he was able to use practice and holodeck simulations to get through Starfleet Academy.
It's all predictable.
Yeah, I can see that.
Anyway, Barclay, I do like him. I'm not a Barclay hater at all.
I'm not a hater.
But I don't think I could put him above Brunt.
Interesting. Where is Liquidator Brunt? Oh, 26.
Yeah.
Barclay, yeah. I mean, is Barclay really better than Mirror Lorca? I don't know if he is. I like Barclay a lot. I have an autographed photo of him.
Nice. Cool.
Is he better than Guinan?
Yeah, I like Barclay better than Guinan.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm with you guys.
I think he's better than Ash Tyler.
I think he's better than Gabriel Lorca. I think that's
right below Liquidator Brunt.
Yeah, I think that's satisfactory.
All right,
that'll do.
That's Lieutenant Reginald Barclay.
Alright.
Oh, wait.
Mr. Broccoli.
I think it's Bark. Like that.
I can't imagine what's next.
Next is going to be Lieutenant Tasha Yar, deceased.
Right.
Yeah.
Poor Denise Crosby. She thought she was going to have a movie career instead. And then got killed off and couldn't stay away. Kept coming back.
Right. Couldn't stay away.
That's true.
It's a weird thing.
Now, I do think that we need to include Tasha from the episode where the Enterprise C appears and we have her whole go back in time thing, because since she it's all main timeline, and she does exist in that timeline before being horrendously murdered by Romulans. We definitely count her in that episode, which is some of the best Tasha Yar ever was.
True. But we don't count when it was her sister or Romulan daughter.
No, not when it's other roles played by Denise Crosby. But here's the question. If Tasha Yar had stuck around, would it have been as good of a show?
No.
Because Worf needed Tasha to go to ascend.
Right.
Yeah. And frankly, like, it's partially the fault of the show's first season being a bit weaker than the rest of the show, but her episodes just aren't the greatest episodes.
She doesn't really have a good episode, except for that one Enterprise C episode.
Yeah, I might put her lower than Barclay.
I think that she might actually go right above Neelix.
Below Guinan, above Neelix? I could agree with that.
I'd put her below Neelix, but that's fine. Put her above Neelix.
Alright, that's going to be Lieutenant Natasha Yar.
Stick an asterisk there. Might want to move her down later.
No. She's better than Neelix. She's never annoying. All right.
Well,
last is going to be Doctor. I don't know her first name. Pulaski.
Dr. Pulaski, our other doctor from Next Gen.
Yes, our other Next Gen doctor.
Yeah.
Great.
Bleh. What's good about her?
She plays mind games with Data.
Yeah.
It's pretty entertaining.
That's mean.
It is mean.
Your mind games with Data are my making fun of him for trying to be human.
I enjoy her being a doctor slightly more than...
Well, that's because Dr. McCoy's a good character.
Right. That is true. She does lose points for being exactly the same as Dr. McCoy.
Yeah.
I mean, I am no great lover of Dr. Crusher, but I would have to rank her above. She's not on the list yet, but there's no way Pulaski's going over Crusher.
Well, no. She only did get a season, so it would be pretty hard for her to get over any of the main cast members.
Are there any main Pulaski episodes other than that one where she gets the disease that fast ages you?
Yeah, she's pretty boring, you're right.
She doesn't really get any main thing. She's kind of just...
around.
Yeah.
Hates the transporter just like Bones.
I just like her more than Crusher, but you're right, she doesn't really do anything.
Maybe if she had gotten more seasons, she would have evolved into a more different character from Dr. McCoy. But as it stands, it's a shame.
Well, I don't know if I would put her above Barclay.
I wouldn't
not
above
Barclay.
Not even close.
Even lower? What about Guinan?
I think Guinan's better.
Guinan is a little better.
Tasha Yar's better?
Yeah, Neelix is better.
Really? Interesting.
I like her a little bit more than Tasha Yar.
I don't.
Alright.
So, above Neelix then?
Sure.
Okay. I can accept that.
Yeah. Dr. Something Pulaski. You don't know her first name, Pulaski fans?
No.
Alright, well, I'll fill that in later, and we'll add that in. Will, I guess we need to take a little bit of a break.
A break?
Yeah.
Alright, fine. And we're back with the Transformer of the Week.
Alright, so this week Sam selected out of the case another Autobot who transforms into a sports car and is totally vain because of it. Trax transforms into a Corvette. Now, the unique thing about Trax is that in Corvette mode he can deploy some wings and
Be a flying?
And be a flying Corvette.
Oh, man.
So I guess his narcissism is a tiny bit justified. He is pretty cool.
Doesn't sound like it should work.
It's highly, highly improbable physics, but yeah, tracks. He's one of the Autobots who has a brother who's a Decepticon, weirdly. Needle Nose on the Decepticons is his Spark brother.
Oh, well.
And that leads to some drama on occasion.
Yeah, I bet.
All blue except for the wings, which are gray and red.
Yep.
Interesting choice.
Yeah, blue and yellow. There's when he's in Corvette mode, there's some good yellow too.
Okay.
And flames and all that. So he feels everything his brother feels?
Oh no, nothing like that. They're
okay.
they're just brothers.
Gotcha.
It's not like Twin Twist and his spark. Like they're like a diverged spark or something. Like something that gives him that specific top spin in Twin Twist.
Right.
No.
Well, that's good.
But yeah, Trax is our Transformer of the week.
Fantastic.
So I guess I can fill you guys in on some comics news.
Well, let's hear about some comics.
So today, actually, Marvel announced a new series, the West Coast Avengers, which is going to be a highly comedic series starring a roster of characters living in a reality show, common house situation, I guess, while solving crimes. And it's the team is populated by a bunch of the characters who got their own solo books canceled and can't support their own numbers. So I guess this is a step in the right direction because at least, if none of these people can support their own book, but supposedly there's still this groundswell of online support for these characters like America Chavez, Gwenpool, Lady Hawkeye. Quentin Quire is on the team from Grant Morrison's X-Men, so I can't hate on that.
So you're right, it's going to be very comedic because they're going to probably just put all these characters into ridiculous situations.
Oh yeah.
Having to live together.
Gwenpool's on the team, and she's inherently a comedic character. Right. And I think Kelly Thompson's writing it, and historically she's gone for the lols.
Okay.
So I won't be buying it, but people supposedly might. We'll see. We'll see if all these characters together will... if it was a bunch of different people supporting these different characters and they all combine their numbers together, then great. But if it was the same 4,000 people buying all of these stupid books and they're the only people who are going to support this, then it'll probably run 12 to 16 issues tops.
You don't want to buy it just to make fun of it?
I kind of like Gwenpool. Hawkeye's the leader of the team. He gets saddled with this roster.
Okay.
But, Marvel officially announced today the Venom the First Host series, which is going to somehow tie into the new continuity being established by the new Venom #1, where we saw, the Beowulf soldiers fighting with the symbiote or whatever.
Right.
And, it does seem that the first host that's going to come down isn't going to be human, because it's going to be some sort of intergalactic, the universe is at stake thing. So,
right, so probably fighting Grundle?
Well, I wonder if that will even tie in truly, or if it'll just be like back in the past.
Okay.
But, whatever. Whoever the first host is, I imagine will be some sort of non-human. Earlier this week, Stan Lee made his first tweet, and in his first tweet said that, "Hi, it's me, Stan Lee. This is my first tweet. Every other tweet or Facebook post you've ever seen has been somebody else trying to speak for me, and my Facebook is still not under my control."
Wow.
And there's still a question about whether or not this is actually Stan Lee or if it's not just two competing entities that have control of his social media and are like warring with each other.
Oh my god.
It's very questionable. Poor Stan Lee.
Nobody knows what's happening with Stan Lee.
And in related news, he's suing the small comics company POW Entertainment for $1 billion because he's alleging that he had no idea what he was signing when he signed over a bunch of character rights and things to them several years ago. He's saying now that he was too blind to have read the contracts that he signed.
That doesn't sound real.
So again, it's questionable whether this is actually Stan Lee or if this is entities acting on Stan Lee's behalf, trying to look for a payday. I'm not sure what characters exactly POW Entertainment has.
These two pieces of news are far more connected than you believe, because what's actually happening here is that entities acting on behalf of... Well, not on behalf of Stan Lee. Entities acting as Stan Lee have decided to sue and then are making it seem as though Stan Lee is taking back control so that they have a better case.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Danger.
Yeah, it's intense. And in other controversial news, social media post recently showed up from comics artist Michael Netzer, where he alleged in basically a 32 bullet point essay that comics legend Neil Adams stole the character Miss Mystic, which Netzer claims they were attempting to develop for DC for a while before Adams took the character to comics startup Pacific Comics, I believe in the 70s or 80s, and then proceeded to take all credit for the character and even to decry the idea publicly that Netzer had anything to do with it, and to say things like, "Oh yeah, I let Michael Netzer put his name on it, but like that was all me. I just wanted to try to help a guy out." Neil Adams, I've listened to interviews by him, and the man is totally insane. He's off his rocker, and I fully believe he's capable of anything. So I don't want to say one way or the other if I think he did this, but I totally believe that he would, and it's unfortunate.
The type of person. That's really unfortunate.
Anyway, let's move on to some of the new comics that came out this week and a few older ones.
All right, Max, you want to start with digital comics?
Yes, this week. I guess this is going to be a weekly series because I'm pretty sure the previous issue came out last week. I read issue 3 of Star Trek Through the Mirror.
Nice.
The crossover with the Next Gen and their Mirror Universe counterparts. And it's very interesting the way it plays with what we know about some of the iconography. Because it starts out with Mirror Barkley in his mirror uniform walking down the hallway of what looks to be an earlier version of the Enterprise because everybody's wearing their Season 1 and 2 uniforms. Yeah. But nobody's treating Barkley like anything's weird about it. He's just having pleasant conversations with everybody. And although he does eventually kill somebody who refers to him as Broccoli. And completes a mission where he redoes some isolinear chips in engineering and then gets ambushed by Riker and Captain Picard and stabs Captain Picard, and then the holodeck simulation ends because Inquisitor Troy is trying to train him to properly be able to infiltrate the regular universe ship, and stabbing Picard at that point was a bad idea.
Of course it would be Troy training him.
So, then it's great because Barclay and Troy, we do find out that what's happened is that Data in the Mirror Universe has discovered a way to transport into the main universe at will. They can select their destination and time frame, apparently. So they've just been making time travel runs into the main universe in order to grab the supplies they need for their war against the Cardassian Klingon Alliance.
Oh my god.
And the Enterprise has been doing quite well recently. They're now the richest ship in the fleet because they have so many supplies that they've been supplying all the other ships in exchange for pay. And Barclay and Troy finally infiltrate the regular Enterprise D, but they make one weird critical mistake, which is that they wear the Season 1 and 2 uniforms, but wear in Season 3 through 7 uniforms in the time frame they enter. So, Riker finds Troy, and now he's like, "Why are you wearing that? That's really weird." But then she plays a little of a seduction game with him, and Riker doesn't think with his normal brain most of the time, so she easily bamboozles him.
That's Riker.
Yeah, but Barclay gets into a pretty similar situation to the one he did in the simulation when he's in the turbo lift with a couple of guys, and they're making fun of him for wearing the old uniform. And he pushes one up against the wall and threatens him, and
Never blown.
So he's now reconfigured the isolinear chips. And we don't know what it's going to do, and we get our to be continued there. And then the second half of the issue is 8 pages of this. I'm guessing this for sure now that this is flashback to how Data is going to build his time device. We're watching the continuing saga of Mirror Data trying to track down Emperor Spock, and he finds him.
Oh, all right.
Yep. Nice. And let me tell you, Mirror Data with his Borg arm and Borg eye, he's real scary. He's pretty unstoppable, and I will not be surprised when he turns out to be the true villain of the series.
He does look pretty bad.
That makes sense.
So good stuff. I'm definitely thoroughly enjoying it. It's very fan servicey, which is what Star Trek should be.
Yeah, it's all about the fans.
All right, so let's move on to some physical issues, though.
All right.
Let's actually start with an older issue. Sam, looks like you read at least one Moon Knight.
I actually read 2 Moon Knights, 191 and 192.
So tell us about Moon Knight 191 and 192.
Well, it's a continuation of the story that has been going on with Raw and this guy without the face.
Yes, Bushmaster.
Bushmaster.
Who is going to be the villain of the second season of Luke Cage on Netflix.
Oh, cool. Huh. Well, he's pretty entertaining in these issues. Mark
Right.
manages to fight them off and escape from his girlfriend's house,
Yeah.
former girlfriend, with his daughter. But they manage to get his girlfriend
Right.
and take her away. And that's about it for that first issue. But they do get the truth back, the villains.
Yeah. They break them out.
And that's cool because characters like
Bushmaster.
Thank you, are just around him and thus talking about things that they maybe want to be talking about. Like Bushmaster is totally obsessed with Moon Knight and considers him to be like the only thing he has in this world is his arch nemesis.
He's just spilling his guts because the truth can't control, or he doesn't do too good a job of controlling his influence.
Continuously having to tell him to tone it back.
Right.
And then it ends with a cliffhanger of one of Mark's friends
Showing up as a zombie.
showing up as a zombie.
Yeah, his French limo driver. Or a cab driver, I mean.
Yeah, pretty scary.
Yeah.
But then you move on to the next issue, and it turns out he ain't a zombie. Mark is just seeing him
Right.
as a zombie because he had a vision of him dying. And a few pages in, he rips off the
The zombie skin.
the zombie skin and throws it on the floor. And it's obviously not there. But Mark's daughter walks over and he's like, don't step on her skin because he is a crazy person. Pretty entertaining. But then Ra and the gang come to
Sun
his
King.
place. You're right, Sun King. He works for Ra.
Right.
I need to remember that they're two separate people. But Sun King comes with his whole gang and says that they're going to go on a boat ride to where his ex-girlfriend is being kept.
Right. Like some island place where they're going to have the ritual where Sun King can kill Moon Knight.
Yeah. And then the rest of the issue is Moon Knight breaking out of their capture on the boat, and you get excellent panels of him fighting, where first it's him biting the hand of Pie Master.
Bushmaster.
Bushmaster. Thank you.
Hi, Master.
Yeah, he bites his hand when Bushmaster is cutting his face,
Right.
which causes him to drop the knife, which Mark catches to cut the ropes, and then you flip to the next page, and he starts beating up the guys. One more over, and you get this nice splash page
Yeah.
where you can see basically every movement that Moon Knight's making throughout the ship, like going to one guy in the big splash,
Right.
where he's all over the place. And then in
Panels.
the panels, it's showing like him taking them out one by one.
It's sort of like a Frank Quitely style spot where we're seeing the full big blowout and all the action taking place, but then, yes, peppering it with panels showing the individual, like the strikes, basically.
Yeah.
All the spots where you'd have the loud sound effect.
Exactly. And that's just good. And then he goes and after all that, he goes and talks to the truth and tells some truth about himself, about a vision he's seen of the streets waist high in death. And that's where it ends on to be continued. Oh, wait, no. He gets to the island. I totally forgot about him getting to the
They
island.
get to the island
And
they
doing
set
some
it up.
drugs.
Yes, they have him take a little psychedelic journey.
Yeah, Sun King does. And then Ra appears in Mark's mind.
And defeats Khonshu in his
burns
mind.
him
Yeah.
in his mind. Very dangerous. And that's where the to be continued is.
Indeed. Good stuff, good stuff. Jason Bro's art on this arc especially is, I really like it a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It continues to be fantastic.
Next up is the 47th issue of Batman by Tom King, illustrated by Tony Daniel, who illustrated Batman R.I.P.
All right.
So this was the third and final issue of the Gift arc, which is the Booster Gold arc.
Booster Gold.
Will, you read this issue.
Yeah. So, starts off with not quite your average Bruce Wayne playing around with guns and having a chained up Booster Gold, who looks like he's been there for... I guess we know he's been there for a year.
He's been leaving him chained up in the bat cave.
He ain't looking so good.
It's just a bat cave. It's not anything special. But yeah, Bruce is mad about everybody dying because Booster Gold let the murderous Batman and Catwoman into his house and killed his entire family. And so he's been training for a year to get really good at shooting Batman and Catwoman in the head. And he's rebuilt Booster Gold's friend Skeets, which is the thing that allows Booster to travel through time.
Yep.
And he's going to force Booster and Skeets to take him back to the moment where Batman and Catwoman broke into his house so he can kill them both.
So he nicely allows Booster to shave and get a haircut, because that's what you do, and get his uniform back, because, that's what you do. And basically him and Booster are having this little talk about how they're going to solve the problem, and Bruce Wayne tells Booster Gold that he wants to teleport to 10 minutes prior to when his mother and father got killed. Which Booster is just like, oh, hey, that's a great idea.
So he tells Skeets, take me back in time to 10 minutes before the Waynes were killed. Wink. But Bruce Wayne totally sees the wink, and he gets really mad because he now immediately suspects Booster correctly of planning something. Yeah. But Skeets gets the idea and does indeed take them back to 10 minutes before the Waynes were originally murdered in Crime Alley when Bruce Wayne was a child. Yep. Just before Booster Gold himself was going to show up to save them. And, Bruce is about to kill Booster for his betrayal when other Booster, who shows up to save the Waynes from getting murdered, sees himself, realizes, the only reason you'd be here is because if I fucked up bad. And assists him in stopping Bruce Wayne from killing other Booster or... stopping his parents from getting killed in the alley down below. Yeah, so
Bruce's parents get killed, and then there's this problem of this other Bruce Wayne who is now lost in time, and, they solved that problem.
Quickness, because he just puts the gun to his head and pulls the trigger.
Oh. Yeah.
Right in front of Booster.
Yeah, very dark comic.
Yeah, and then it ends, and it shows that... here's Booster. The timeline's fixed. And he's telling Bruce and Selina on a rooftop about everything he did because he thought that if he told them and came clean about what had happened, then it might help him get the stain of blood off of his goggles because he can't get it off. And we see clearly there's no stain on his goggles, but he can't help but see it. And Tom King has mentioned on social media, he's super strongly hinted that he's going to be doing some sort of Booster Gold series in the near future.
Well, that's interesting.
And I wonder how much this will lead into that, because this super seems like a setup for Booster Gold's character.
Well, hey, I like Booster's dialogue. I thought he was a well-written character overall.
It's needlessly dark otherwise.
Yeah.
But maybe they're setting him up for a new arc.
Exactly. That has to be it, because if it isn't that, then I got to be honest, I really liked the first two issues of this arc, but then the ending of the last issue and then this resolution I felt a little underwhelmed by. I felt like it was almost needlessly dark. Like it was real grim, man.
It was real grim, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was well written overall.
Fair enough. Alright, so Sam, we, I think, both read the first issue, or the only issue of Superman Special, which was another anthology of Superman stories. There was a nice capper to the Tomasi Gleason run where they basically wrapped up the one loose end from that run that hadn't been addressed, which was rescuing Captain Storm from the dinosaur island.
Right, this had his wooden leg.
Right, John had his wooden leg in his room, and I was reminding him that we promised that guy we'd go back for him, because way back in issue 8 and 9, Superman and John got stuck on the island, and Captain Storm basically sacrificed himself. He didn't guarantee his own death, but he held off the oncoming dinosaur hordes so that they could escape. So using another thing from another earlier issue, Manchester Black's Time Cube, they managed to go back in time and find Captain Storm and Dinosaur Island, which this is all a big reference to Darwin Cook's DC The New Frontier graphic novel and movie. Where there's a sequence with the Losers, who are a military organization. They're lost on Dinosaur Island, and it is my favorite part of New Frontier. It is damn heartbreaking.
Yeah.
You guys should watch that movie at some point. It's definitely the best animated movie DC's ever done. So if you like any of the DC animated movies, I mean, I've shown you parts from it. That's the one where it shows Martian Manhunter coming to Earth, and he learns about culture while watching TV. And there's a sequence of him like turning into Bugs Bunny and turning into Dick Tracy.
I know that
and,
one.
like,
Right.
yeah.
That's cool.
So basically, it's just a nice little adventure story about Clark and John getting the captain off of Dinosaur Island, and then super successfully and smoothly reintegrating him into society and culture. This is because Dinosaur Island is basically lost in the 40s. It's because the losers are World War II team. So when they bring him back, it's to modern times. And Superman easily gets all of his back pay out of the Veterans Association. And he adjusts real easily to modern culture and television. And it's just it's nice. It's nice. And they end it in the way that I like it when they end Superman stories this way, with never the end. What'd you think?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. I like when Superman and his son's John, right?
Yeah.
John show up on Dinosaur Island inside the T-Rex and it explodes.
Yeah, that was a weird choice for me. I'm like, I don't think Superman would like that.
No, not at all. But, it's just
it just sounds wrong.
Random happenstance. They didn't know where they were going to come through. It just happens to be inside a T-Rex.
Yeah, that's poor T-Rex.
That was, I thought it was fairly comedic.
He's Joblets now.
Yes, he is. The rest of it I enjoyed thoroughly.
How did you like the second story where Superman has to stop a giant shellfish?
Pretty good. I mean, he's coming back from space and he's really tired, so the fact that everybody's always running up to him and being like, Superman, I need you to save this, Superman, I need you to save that. And this time he's able to do everything except save this poor old man's pictures of his wife, which is the only thing he has that's helping him remember her because he has Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And, that's pretty heartbreaking, but Superman had to choose between the pictures or a little dog, and I mean, the choice on there is kind of obvious.
Now, Superman, though, this dog belonged to somebody in one of the buildings, and Superman just straight gives it to the old man.
He does.
How does Superman know the people who lived in that other apartment are dead?
He lost his pictures. He deserves the dog.
I mean, that's something that the story is saying, but that was super weird to me.
That is a little weird. I did not realize that, but you're right. That dog was totally inside the burning building, which had people evacuated from it, so
it's not a stray.
Yeah, not a stray.
But Superman's just like, here, you can take care of this dog.
Well, he doesn't necessarily mean keep it. Take care of it as in see that it gets back to its owner.
Right. And then the last story is by Ian Flynn, who's most famous for writing a absolute crap ton of Sonic the Hedgehog comics.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not any of the... kind of after we stopped reading them back in the day.
Right.
But, quite a few.
That's a bit of a weird one.
This one reminded me a lot of Superman the Animated Series. I think it's because the villain turned hero with the flaming skull motif just reminds me so much of the various flaming skull head villains from the Superman animated series and also Batman Beyond.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it was a decent little story about a criminal going good and being tempted to not be good and deciding to continue to follow the example of Superman.
Yeah, right. That's nice in itself.
Decent little story.
Oh, and he looks pretty cool.
I do like the design. Yeah, I wasn't familiar with his villain. What's his name?
Oh, it's like Atomic Skull.
Atomic Skull.
Atomic Skull. Yeah.
Yeah. So
another one of those.
Yeah, but kind of a jokey one.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I was reminded of the animated series because it all had sort of a lighthearted feel to it.
Right.
And last thing, I think we all read it, was the second issue of Justice League No Justice. Action-packed.
Yeah, action-packed and full of story.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff here, and they really have to fight to cram it all in. There's several pages where it's like 4 panels, and each one is one of the 4 different teams.
Yeah,
that's true.
But we finally basically got an explanation for the whole weird team naming thing, like Team Wonder, Team Wisdom, Team Entry. Like, why would you name them that? And we finally find out that it's these 4 primal forces of the universe that are somehow represented by crazy trees on Brainiac's home planet of Kolu.
Right, they don't explain that, like why the trees are here or anything, but we're getting a little bit more of it.
It's good stuff.
It's an info dump comic.
Oh, for sure. It's so
Yeah.
much talking.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
plot, and they're just every page they're sticking something new in. It's like you need to know this in order to read the rest of this series.
And like on all their weird costumes, they have special nodes that are pulling them towards the tree that they needed to be pulled towards because like the teams were worked out to mathematical perfection by Brainiac, and Luther finally convinces everybody that their best chance of winning, even though Brainiac is dead, is to do the best they can to enforce his plan by splitting up into the correct teams.
Yeah.
But it turns out that Brainiac is a huge dick and had wired a bunch of like safety things so that if he died, like everybody else would be fucked basically.
Yeah, which is just really bizarre. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And the fact that Amanda Waller blew his head off last issue is creating lots of trouble for the League. But we get some good moments. My favorite little moment in the issue was definitely Lobo giving Beast Boy a pep talk.
Right, and then Beast Boy turning into a huge monster and tossing Lobo at the enemies.
Right.
You know, famous move of Wolverine and
Yes.
Colossus.
A little fastball special.
Yeah, a little fastball special.
Yeah, and so I like that. But yeah, he turns into like a lion dragon.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And and then the twist ending of the issue is that when they get to the depths of the prison on Kolu, where the worst of the worst is being held, we reveal a character who's normally associated with the Legion of Superheroes, Vildox. Used to go by Brainiac 5, but apparently for Rebirth, he is now going to be Brainiac 2.0.
Well, he really needed a Brainiac.
And usually this guy's just like a straight good guy, so I'm interested to see where they'll go with his characterization. You guys read Final Crisis, right?
Yeah.
So that's the one time you probably have encountered Vildox, because at the end of Final Crisis, when Superman goes forward in time to see the Miracle Machine so he can rebuild reality, if they manage to defeat Darkseid, Vildox is the dude who shows it to him and says, I can only show it to you for 5 seconds, so get your best memory of it you can, and then head back in time and build it from scratch.
I remember that.
Yeah. Because he's a good guy. He's like super helpful. He's on the Legion of Superheroes, and they're all like Silver Age, gung-ho Boy Scout superheroes, you know?
And that's why theoretically Brainiac had him sitting in a prison cell?
And that's actually a good bet, yeah. But
Okay.
he's definitely going to be the one smart enough to figure out what Brainiac's plan was, if anybody's going to be able to.
Yeah.
That's what they need.
They need Brainiac.
Indeed. A Brainiac. Any Brainiac.
Yeah, they pretty much spelled it out that without Brainiac, it's all done. They're doomed. What can they do? Nothing.
Well, all right.
That's all I got.
I think that wraps up this episode, folks.
Yep.
So as always, listeners, you can follow us on Twitter at @the_lag. That's LAAG, because we're the League of Above Average Gamers. You can also you can also find us at LAAGEntertainment.libsyn.com and at other podcasting services such as Stitcher and Player FM, and I think, Playcast, something like that? I don't remember exactly what it was called. But, and then also on YouTube, you can just search LAAGCast, or we're the LAAG Entertainment channel. We'll be on iTunes, I don't know, probably next week, I guess, maybe. And, yeah, and if you want to, you can send us an email at lagentertainment@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you. We'll answer you on the podcast, whatever. We'll make sure to reply. Just send us anything at all. And thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Bye. 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 Bye.